Monica Smith, and I'm here to help you detect the lies when it comes to African American genealogy and family history research. The first lie is that African Americans were not documented before 1870. 1870 is a significant year because it was just 5 years after the ratification of the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery, except in the case of involuntary servitude, and 1870 was the first year that all African Americans, regardless of if they were free or they were formerly enslaved, had the opportunity to be enumerated on a federal census. So because this was the first time that all African Americans, in theory, were given the ability to be enumerated as a person, as a human being, on the census by name, by age, by sex, location, all these things, a lot of times when people are starting their genealogy research and they can only get back so far, many of them hit a brick wall when it comes to the 1870 census. Here's the thing. If you have an ancestor who was on the 1870 census, you've got beyond the 1870 census. Another myth, or sort of half-truth, is the fact that people believe that African Americans have more Native American DNA or Native American ancestry than they have European ancestry or DNA. And in my experience and the experience of others who have been doing this type of work for a number of years, the preponderance of evidence is out there. African Americans have usually more European ancestry than they have Native American ancestry. But the fact of the matter is there were Native American groups in this country that actually owned slaves. There were slaves among the Cherokee, which is a group that a lot of people will shout out that they have ancestry from, or the Creek, or the Choctaw, or the Chickasaw. Those groups practiced chattel slavery. My ancestors were actually slaves of several Cherokee slaveholders and prominent people. They were also descendants of those same people. Alright, since I'm here to help you find the lie, here's another one that's quite a doozy. There's this myth going around that slaves did not marry. Yeah, okay. Seriously? Anybody who has been to an African American wedding or has saw one online or even looked at pictures knows that there are a bunch of us who actually participate in a ceremony known as jumping the broom. It happens after the vows are said, the prayers, the sand ceremonies, ropes, drinking, bittersweet, whatever you did when it comes to your wedding. But at the very end, after you're pronounced husband and wife, or wife and wife, or husband and husband, a broom gets brought out and the couple jumps the broom. And this tradition was passed down as a part of our culture during slavery. Now, granted, because slaves were not necessarily considered legal citizens or were given the rights of legal citizens because they were considered property, they may not have had the ability to actually have their marriage solemnized by the county or the parish or the state. But you can find records of slaves getting married in a number of different places because it was considered a holy sacrament. It was something that a pastor or a priest or somebody had to preside over. I've heard experts on television quote this as though it's the law, and I'm here to tell you that it's not true. Another lie, myth, or perhaps half-truth is the fact that people think that African Americans cannot trace back to Africa, meaning that they cannot directly trace their lineage back to an African country, group of people, or anything like that, and that is so untrue. There are a number of ways that people can do this. Primarily, folks are using DNA to do these things right about now. Also, when you look at early records, early census records, you're looking at church records, anything you can pull, some of these records will actually tell you that a person was born in Africa, even though they were living in the United States. The importation of slaves was banned in the United States in 1808, but slaves were still illegally transported here well after that date. So it is possible that you have a 19th century ancestor that was actually born in Africa. Another lie is that African Americans were not involved in the U.S. military before World War I. Oh boy, gosh, seriously? Seriously? Have you seen the movie Glory? That's a pretty big indication that African Americans were in a war or served in the military prior to World War I. Statistics say that there's at least 1 out of 4 of your ancestors that exist, if you're African American or if you're researching an African American family, that were in the Civil War. If they lived long enough or they had a wife or children, they were able to receive a pension from the federal government if they got sick. And so these records are available at the National Archives. You can order them online. They cost like $75 now. But they're chock full of information, and they can help you further dispel the first lie I talked about, which was that African Americans were not documented before 1870. If you'd like to hear more from me when it comes to family history research and genealogy, be sure to subscribe to my channel and check out some more of the videos I have here on YouTube.